the rhythm of the true. Deep within the Nantai Mountains, where the trees whisper ancient songs to the wind, lived an old man named Aiken. His wooden cabin stood beside a stream that never ceased to flow, even through the harshest winters. Each morning, Aiken would step into the clearing with the first light of dawn. He didn't pray, nor did he ask for anything. He simply listened. He would sit on a smooth, round stone and let the world speak to him without words. One day, a young wandering monk named Ritsu arrived, restless and full of questions. "Master," he said, bowing respectfully, "I have searched for the truth in 1,000 books, chased it through study and meditation, yet I still can't find it. Where does it hide?" Aiken looked up calmly and pointed to the stream. "Do you see how the water neither rushes nor stops? That is how the truth flows. There is no hurry in its rhythm." Ritsu furrowed his brow. "But how will I know that what I feel is truth? How can I recognize its pace?" Aiken smiled gently and replied, "You must learn to listen not with your ears, but with your whole being. The rhythm of the true does not impose itself. It reveals itself when you stop searching for it." Ritsu didn't fully understand, but something in those words left him silent, as if a part of him had been touched without being touched. That night, Ritsu couldn't sleep. The master's words swirled inside him like leaves caught in a whirlpool. At dawn, he went out to the clearing, determined to understand. He sat on the same stone Aiken used and waited. The forest was slowly waking. Branches creaked softly. Birds didn't sing in unison, yet everything made sense. Nothing seemed out of place. But his mind wouldn't quiet. What if I'm doing it wrong? What if silence is a trap? He wondered. At that moment, Aiken appeared behind him, silent as the air itself. He sat beside him. "You're not here to understand," he said without looking at him. "You're here to feel." Ritsu lowered his head, ashamed. "I feel anxious, like I'm wasting time." Aiken nodded. "That too is part of the rhythm. Even your hurry has its place. Don't fight it. Just observe it, like you watch the stream. You don't correct it, don't stop it. You simply let it be." The young man closed his eyes. For the first time, instead of trying to empty himself, he allowed himself to be full of doubts, desires, confusion. And in the midst of it all, a moment of stillness appeared, small, but real. In the days that followed, Ritsu repeated the same routine. He sat by the stream, breathed, listened, and let his mind wander as it wished. Sometimes he cried for no reason. Other times he felt anger, but he no longer tried to run away. Aiken never interrupted or corrected him. He simply shared the silence. One afternoon, the master asked him, "Have you noticed how a heron walks?" Ritsu nodded. "It moves slowly, as if each step weighs a lifetime." Aiken smiled. "And yet, it never stumbles." The young man looked at him, waiting for an explanation. "The heron does not move out of hurry or fear. The step doesn't seek to arrive quickly. It only seeks to be in harmony with the place where its foot lands. That is the rhythm of the true. It's no faster than the present, and no slower than what the heart can bear." Ritsu felt something open inside him. It wasn't a revelation or a grand answer. It was barely an echo, like a distant drum beginning to beat from within. By the time the full moon arrived, Ritsu was sitting by the fire, carving a bamboo flute. He wasn't a musician, nor did he know why he was doing it. He had simply felt the impulse to follow the grain of the wood with his fingers, gently, without rush. Aiken watched from a distance without interfering. When Ritsu blew into the flute for the first time, the sound was awkward, barely a broken whisper. He laughed at himself but didn't give up. Each night, After finishing his tasks, he returned to his flute. He wasn't seeking perfection. He simply allowed himself to be present with it, and with whatever sound emerged. One early morning, unexpectedly, a simple, clear melody flowed out, one that seemed not to come from him, but from the forest itself. Aiken, sitting in the shadows, closed his eyes. When Ritsu finished, the master spoke. "Now you no longer ask what is true. You have stopped searching. And because of that, it has revealed itself." Ritsu felt the melody still floating in the air, not because of what he played, but because of what he felt while playing. A deep communion with the moment, without judgment, without effort. "So this is the rhythm of the true?" he whispered. Aiken nodded. "It's not something you learn. It's something you remember." The days slipped by like water through fingers. Without realizing it, Ritsu no longer counted time. The seasons set the rhythm of his life. Gathering leaves in autumn, walking barefoot in summer, quietly sweeping snow in winter. One morning, while fixing the garden fence, he paused for no obvious reason. He closed his eyes and listened, not to the birds or the wind, but within himself. There were no words, only a gentle pulse, as if something inside him was beating in tune with the earth itself. In that moment, he understood. The rhythm of the true was not something out there. It wasn't the forest, nor the stream, nor even the silence. It was what happens when one stops resisting, when there's no one trying to reach another place. Aiken, watching from the shadow of the pear tree, approached with a cup of hot tea. "Do you know what you heard?" he asked. Ritsu smiled and nodded. "The music that's always been there, but I was talking too much to hear it." The master sat beside him. "That's how bamboo knows when to grow and when to rest. That's how the flower opens without effort. The true rhythm doesn't impose itself. It reveals itself when you disappear." That afternoon, the sky filled with clouds. A gentle rain began to fall, and the sound of droplets on the cabin roof set a calm rhythm, like an ancient drum. Ritsu and Aiken shared the silence inside. There was no need to speak, just the crackling of the fire and the warm tea between their hands. "Do you notice?" Aiken said, breaking the stillness without breaking it. "Everything has its own dance, but we've been taught to run instead of listen." Ritsu nodded. "When I came here, I wanted to understand the world, but now I just want to be with it." The master smiled, pleased. "That is wisdom." Outside, the water kept falling effortlessly, washing leaves, caressing stones. It didn't ask to be seen. It didn't try to be useful. It simply fulfilled its nature. "Truth isn't a place you arrive at," Aiken added. "It's a frequency you resonate with, when your life no longer competes with the moment." Ritsu took the last sip from his cup. In that moment, he felt light, as if nothing was pushing inside him, as if he had finally stopped resisting the simple dance of being. Time passed without being counted, and one morning, without warning, Ritsu knew it was time to leave, not out of dissatisfaction, nor from a desire to seek more. He left because the true was calling him in another direction, and now he knew how to listen. Aiken walked with him to the edge of the forest, where the path disappeared among the trees. "Thank you for teaching me not to chase the wind," Ritsu said, bowing deeply. "I haven't learned anything, and yet I am no longer the same." Aiken placed a hand on his shoulder. "You didn't try to master the rhythm, and that's why you began to dance with it." Ritsu smiled. He felt that inside himself, everything had found a new cadence. He walked not to arrive, but to live each step. He no longer sought answers because silence was enough. As he ventured into the forest, the world seemed to accompany him. The falling leaves, the distant call of a crow, the crunch of his feet on the damp earth. He did not feel alone, nor lost. The rhythm of the true was no longer out there. It lived in his breath, in his gaze, in his walk. Ritsu kept walking without plan, without destination. Each step was whole, like a circle closing and opening at the same time. In every village he passed through, he offered no speeches or teachings. He simply shared his presence, helped silently, listened attentively, and sometimes, as evening fell, he played his bamboo flute beneath the trees. Many watched him with curiosity. Others walked on by. But a few, just a few stopped. Not because of the melody, but because of what it carried. A pause, a breath, an echo of the present moment. Over time, someone asked him, "Where do you come from, traveler?" And Ritsu answered, "I don't know. But since I heard the rhythm of the true, I no longer need to know." The wind brushed his face like a blessing. The world hadn't changed, but he had. He was no longer a seeker. He was one with what is, one who walks in step with that which can't be named, yet holds everything. And so, beneath the open sky and in unhurried steps, the truth continued dancing within him, like a river that never stops flowing.